Sup, Reitanna, it's Reitanna Seishin here. I just have another little description-y thingy, like what I did with, 5 Nights with Anatir. Just a thing that is an idea and probably will never be a thing. This is, if I were to make a Doki Doki Literature Club mod, which may not happen, not just because doing all the artwork would be very tedious and, long, but because this deals with a lot of coding. And I can't even get the tutorial to work, so, I'm not so sure that coding is really my thing, but I have the idea down. So basically this would be if, my character, who I'm calling Rei and not Reitanna, if my character was in the original game. Now, obviously, one of the rules to making a mod is to, the rules done by Team Salvato, is do not make a mod that, encourages players to play instead of or before the original game. Obviously, you would have to play the original game, but this would be like playing it again with an added character, and that would be Rei. And technically Anatir, but Anatir is going to be known as 3 question marks. For the sake of this description, I will keep referring to them as Reitanna and Anatir. This description might be too detailed. Again, but it's actually a draft anyway, so let's go. Hobbies and interests. Reitanna loves animals, eccentric clothing, colorful and cute things, cartoons, video games, sweets, manga, anime, and toys. On the other hand, she also enjoys horror, rock, and metal music, and hentai. Even though her interests would be considered childish, she is fairly intelligent and will do research on things if it interests her or if she doesn't know what it is. In high school, she's in choir, advanced women's ensemble, and takes singing lessons, so she's a decent singer, though sight reading is hard for her. Note that this character is more like me when I was in high school. A lot of different details are crunched together, so she does have attributes that I discovered of myself later in life, but basically she is 18 years old. The main things she does are drawing and writing, though she also does some painting and crafts, as well as photography, which is another class she's taking. She enjoys reading, but she is very picky and will often judge a book by its cover or synopsis. The literature club is a good place for her to work on stories or poems, or read books she's engrossed in. If she doesn't really feel like doing that, she'll usually draw, which Monica tries to motivate her to write or read instead because drawing isn't a club activity. Reitanna is very independent, so if she really doesn't want to do something, she'll refuse, though she tries to be polite. Note that teenage me wouldn't have been so polite. She would have been passive-aggressive, but this is Act 1. So, Reitanna can't stand sports, and is also kind of really lazy. The laziness does not keep her from trying to get good grades. She's not a top student, but she's doing a bit more than okay. She has so many hobbies, sometimes she won't do any of them because she can't figure out which one she wants to do. She's also terrible at mornings, but forces herself awake on school days, sleeping in on weekends. The school dress code bothers her because she doesn't like to dress quote-unquote plain. She loves colorful hair, makeup, has a labrae piercing, and short skirts. She'll add things to make her, also note that this was not proofread. She'll add things to make her uniform more cutesy, which she gets in trouble for, as well as her hair, makeup, and piercing. But as mentioned before, she'll do what she wants. However, in Japan, this would not fly. You don't just do what you want. For those of you who know how strict modern Japanese high schools are, actually a lot of the little accessories that the other dokis have would not be considered okay. However, despite this, she tries her best to follow rules if there's a logical reason for them to be there. The reason for Japanese having school uniforms is because they don't want distractions from schoolwork. The school also does not like that she brings her strange plushie, Charmer, to school. Reitanna also carries her rat to school in her bag. The rat that is generically colored brown, and I do not have a name for it yet. Disclaimer, this is a fictional universe, and rats in real life do not behave the same way they do in fiction. Please don't ever carry your rat in your bag to school or anywhere else. When transporting any animal, you must ensure their safety, and the transportation must be necessary, such as a vet visit. They are not toys, so as much as we'd love to, we can't carry them around with, you can't carry them around with you all the time. So, Act 1 personality traits. This is before the game gets kooky. Reitanna has a few close friends, and that's it. She's been a prime target for bullying her whole life, and her shyness doesn't help. Side note, there's a lot of very close-to-home details I'm going to be sharing, but none of these details should be a surprise to people who know me and have been around my channel for quite a while. What is that? Ooh. Sorry. Being a mildly rebellious teenager, she is more easy to open up to kind people. When meeting new people, she's quiet and timid and will avoid eye contact as much as possible, though eye contact will increase the better she gets to know you, especially if you find things to talk about with her. Okay. Another side note is that basically she's on medication in Act 1. She has a problem with being touched by people she doesn't know, so if someone is standing too close, she'll inch away from them. Additionally, she also seems to be more intimidated by people taller than her. She's very comfortable around her friends in the literature club, so she'll be talkative, she'll laugh and be silly, and once she's comfortable with you, she'll show the same bubbly and happy behavior. I'm having trouble reading today. She's incredibly kind to anyone as long as they are also kind. If she keeps eye contact, you'll know she's not intimidated by you. When first meeting her, Reitanna might come off as a little unfriendly, but once you get to know her, it becomes obvious that you misjudged her. She will also wring her hands if she does not have Charmer in them or her fidget spinner. So I actually do have a fidget spinner that I carry around with me when I go out for anxiety reasons. When Reitanna is really comfortable with you, she doesn't mind being perverted or crude as long as it doesn't make the others uncomfortable. She's not very secretive about liking hentai, specifically yaoi, and privately jokes to herself about Yuri's name. Unlike Natsuki, Reitanna is not ashamed of her childish interests, and unlike Yuri, she does not remain shy the entire game, but gradually grows more open and can often be quite loud. She also loves sharing what she wrote with people, especially if she thinks it's good and is proud of it. She seems to have trouble speaking sometimes, saying a lot between thoughts, and sometimes jumbles up words or creates new ones if she can't remember the actual word. She will make fun of what she just said and call attention to how it was totally English, or Japanese. She will also speak to her rat and sometimes reply back as the rat in a different voice. So like, "Who's a sleepy Jerry? No, who just eating? Mom, shut up! I'm eating my food right now. You really don't. Just shut up, Mom." Another quote-unquote person she talks to is Charmer, but he doesn't respond back. Reitanna has created a backstory for him, saying he's cursed, but she knows he really isn't. It's just a joke. Which is true. I do have a little backstory for him that I haven't actually written down. She's very creative and has a great sense of humor. Reitanna will also hint that she takes medication, as well as suffering from insomnia. She'll also flinch if someone moves their hand toward her too quickly, and doesn't like sudden loud noises. Sometimes she'll run her fingers through her hair, but not flirtatiously. It seems to be involuntary. Lastly, Reitanna has a crazy sweet tooth. When Natsuki bakes cupcakes or something, Reitanna hopes, no, prays that there are some left over that nobody wants to finish, so she can gobble them down herself. Because of this love for sugar, she'll bake with Natsuki when they hang out at Rei's house, and Natsuki always feels thrilled when Rei enjoys her cooking. If you have candy or desserts to share with Reitanna, she will eagerly accept. MC has chocolate, doesn't he? For the festival, Reitanna is given the task to draw cute animals with books that she can tape up with Yuri's decorations, as well as compile a music playlist. Behavior toward Sayori. Again, this is all in Act 1. Since Sayuri is so happy and bubbly anyway, Reitanna feels much more comfortable with her than anyone else. It's easier for Reitanna to be open with herself when Sayuri is around, and they find things to laugh about and even hang out outside of school sometimes. Sometimes Sayuri's ditziness annoys Reitanna just because of the small intelligence gap, but she keeps it to herself. Outside of school, Reitanna and Sayuri know each other's backstories and problems with mental illness, so they will often vent to each other, sharing feelings about the world, themselves, and it helps them cope. Sayuri's depression is a bit different than Reitanna's, and Sayuri also does not take medication, so when Sayuri isn't being everyone's sunshine, Reitanna will be her sunshine instead. Behavior toward Natsuki. Reitanna will get pretty ticked off by Natsuki's bad attitude and tries to influence her to be nicer. However, since they both have interests in cute things, it will make her be less hostile toward Reitanna when it's just the two of them. Reitanna tries to tell Natsuki that she doesn't have to be ashamed of herself for liking childish things and doesn't need to act tough, that she should be who she is. Since Natsuki is experiencing things at home that Reitanna has in the past, they both will work together to try and teach Natsuki how to deal with it. Reitanna keeps high-calorie snacks in her bag for Natsuki and will often invite her to her house over weekends, sometimes at the same time as Sayuri. Behavior toward Yuri. Despite secretly laughing about Yuri's name, Reitanna still likes her and relates to her very well. She's jealous of Yuri's beauty, especially of her fantastic body, but doesn't show spite, just jokes a little bit about Yuri being a babe. They both know what it's like to be insecure and shy, so Yuri is less embarrassed around Reitanna. Both of them also enjoy horror and gore, though it's not a sexual thing for Reitanna, just entertainment for lack of a better word. Yuri is the most intelligent one in the club, and since Reitanna is a little above average intelligence, she enjoys getting into discussions with Yuri, soaking up her thoughts, information, and brain stimuli just for the sake of learning new things, or simply sharing information. They don't usually hang out outside of school, and Reitanna does not know about her cutting herself, her knife collection, or that she has a blood fetish. Behavior toward Monica. Reitanna is less fond of Monica than everyone else because of the fact that Monica always acts innocent, but she's actually quite the control freak. Reitanna tends to follow rules, but to her, Monica seems bossy and self-centered. Still, she will be kind to Monica, but isn't afraid to put her foot down for her own independency. Sometimes Reitanna acts a little passive-aggressive if Monica keeps pestering Reitanna to do something. Reitanna gets a sharp look in her eyes that is intimidating, so Monica backs off. The two don't hang out outside of the club at all because the only thing they have in common is enjoying reading and writing. Monica will suggest books to Reitanna, but since Rei is picky, she hates it when other people suggest things like books and music for her to try, preferring instead to find things she likes on her own. Behavior toward MC. MC is tall, but he is also cute, so Reitanna is extremely shy around him and is afraid of embarrassing herself in front of him. She becomes mildly flirty when the two open up to each other because MC likes anime and manga, so they find things to talk about. As a teenager, Reitanna has a bad habit of developing crushes on cute boys who treat her with kindness, which was a bad habit that I had as a teenager. Oh, boys being cute, he must have a crush on me, and I have a crush on him. So, yeah. But she herself is very cute, so MC is as interested in her as he is the other girls. However, Reitanna feels she doesn't have a chance against the other girls. In her opinion, Natsuki is cuter, Sayori's cute and is MC's lifelong best friend, Yuri is hot, and Monica is beautiful and talented. When faced with jealousy, Reitanna will forget her own talents and feel like everyone else is better than her. So anytime MC wants to hang out with her, Rei says, "You don't have to. I mean, if you want to hang out with one of the other girls, I understand." She loses a bit of her spunk when she says it. It's up to the player to pick up on her hint and stay with her, or be oblivious and hang out with someone else. Women, am I right? When MC offers her chocolate, she lights up and is very happy to eat it. If she's in a bad mood, this offering will cheer her up. At some point, Reitanna reveals that she likes rock and heavy metal music. So here's some of the personal stuff, the backstory. Reitanna suffers from manic depression. Side note, a lot of my real traits are dramatized, for the sake of, for one, time, and for two, because that's kind of how the game works. Okay, so Reitanna suffers from manic depression, social anxiety disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Her parents were not good parents, and while her father was kept out of most of her life, her mother physically, emotionally, and mentally abused her. She ended up becoming a sociopath, though when on medication, her stable emotions tend to make it easier to empathize with people who suffer or have suffered similar experiences to hers, whether not as bad or way worse. Her mother was an alcoholic, did drugs, slept with many very scary men, hoarded animals that she wouldn't care for, instead leaving Rei to do the work, and even completely neglected or forgot about Reitanna, leaving her home alone the entire day, even as a child, or forgetting to unlock the goddamn door, so that Reitanna has to sit outside of her home after school for many hours until her mother returned from God knows where way after Rei's bedtime. True story. If Reitanna spoke too much when her mother was under the influence, she'd get hit and screamed at. And being bullied, she tended to not speak much as a child, which is why she has trouble speaking out loud in the present. She has many scars left by her mother, including a cigarette burn, as well as scars from self-harm. Since she doesn't do it for pleasure like Yuri, her cuts and scars are unconsciously vertical, not horizontal, though some of them form words or shapes. There are a few on her thigh and one on her hip. Side note. They say it's down the street, not down the road, not across the street. What that means is people who the stereotype is that people who cut vertically on their wrist are actually depressed. People who cut horizontally are doing it for attention. Now that's a stereotype. I didn't know about this stereotype until I was a senior, and I had been cutting since I was in middle school, and except for shapes and words, they were always vertical, so I had no idea about this rule or whatever. I did notice that I had a few friends in high school who cut horizontally. Funnily enough, one of them was very thirsty for attention. Now, I don't know if this applies to everybody, but it seems like if you do it, it seems to be an unconscious thing, and I don't know if this is 100% of the time, this is just my theory. Unconsciously, if you're depressed, you want to go vertical, I assume to go with the vein. For other reasons, say for like pleasure, I assume it could be horizontal. But the fact of the matter is that Yuri's cuts in game are mostly horizontal and diagonal. There's something I forgot to show in my Sims video I just recorded. I just realized that. So I don't know how true either of this is, but mine have always been unconsciously vertical. Again, except for shapes and words. So I don't know how it works for people who do it for pleasure. My masochism, sadomasochism is very mild, meaning that if I see blood, I'm not going to be sexually turned on like Yuri is. It's not necessarily a fetish, just kind of like, well, I guess it's like the mildest of fetishes. So it's really hard for me to explain, especially since I can't freaking speak. So next, her mother lost custody of her midway through Reitanna's last year of middle school, but still Rei was very damaged. She ended up being adopted by her grandmother, who did not handle her situation well, and caused more emotional damage. Reitanna resents her entire family, and she treats them as if they were strangers, including her brother, who ran away from their mother when Reitanna was just a child, leaving her to experience her mother getting worse and worse. Neither home life nor school life felt safe, only her close friends were her salvation. Reitanna feels that she gets along better with animals than humans, as any animal seems to take a liking to her, even if they behave aggressively to others. That's true, actually. I've had a lot of instances where aggressive animals will treat me with kindness, as opposed to as they would with other strangers. She considers them individuals, so she speaks to them and gives them the affection they deserve. Animals seem to be able to tell that she has no intention of hurting them. That is a bit of a dramatization. I don't know if that's actually true because I can't speak their language. But it seems that way. It seems that, but not just with me, but it seems that there are times and certain people when animals will know that that person doesn't have any intention to harm them. For those of you who are the same way, you know what I'm talking about. If there's an animal within petting distance, she is much less shy around people. The reason Reitanna fears people who are taller than her is because, as a short child, her mother, a much taller person, abused her, so she associates greater height with torment. She has admitted that tall women freak her out. People raising their voices in an angry way also comes off as shouting to her, and it'll upset her, causing her to cower and or cry. Due to a failed suicide attempt, Reitanna also suffers from quite severe short-term memory loss. This is not dramatized, actually. She'll often forget things that happened in recent past, sometimes things that happened the previous day, and in worst-case scenarios, she will forget things that happened that morning or a mere few minutes ago. She forgets names of new people, so she hopes someone will say it so she doesn't have to ask again. That's the case for a lot of people, though. That's not just for people who suffer from short-term memory loss. She also has no sense of time. 2 hours ago could feel like 30 minutes or 4 hours. Something that happened 2 days ago might have happened 1 day ago or weeks ago. She will also ask about some events, wondering if they really happened or if she dreamed it. She also has trouble recognizing faces unless the person either hangs around often enough or has features that really make them stand out. When really nervous, Reitanna will pick at her skin, mostly on her face, and or pull out her hair. This is involuntary, so people have to tell her to stop doing it. Rei has had many relationships, though most of them were not pleasant. One boyfriend mentally abused her, and she planned to kill herself after he broke up with her, which was a very painful breakup because he had to think about it. He told Reitanna to stay away from him for an entire week, but he ended up playing with her head and hugging her when she was crying, making it seem like he was going to stay. He did not stay and went out with another girl immediately, suggesting he had been cheating. Ironically, that happened the same time my great-grandfather died. Many of her exes have described her as being clingy and crazy, but after being on medication, which I was not in high school, so this is for the game, but, I did have relationships after being on medication. Relationship. Mike is the only relationship I've had where I'm on medication. But after being on medication, she was more under control and had one relationship where she actually broke up with her boyfriend, and it was not dramatic. That was not, I was not on medication for that, so this is, again, for the game lore, but I did have one relationship where I broke up with him because, I guess I didn't feel as strongly as I did, and I was honestly kind of getting really tired of guys. So, after that, I dated Ruth, but she ended up being a druggie, so, but that breakup, even though it really did hurt him because he really, really loved me. It wasn't dramatic, and I didn't want it to be dramatic. Unfortunately, you just can't stay friends with your exes. If somebody's friends with their ex, 90% of the time, they're having an affair with them. Reitanna, though an introvert, has an innate fear of being completely alone. She's fine being alone during the day, but if she were to live alone, she wouldn't be able to handle it. She also cannot go out in public alone. She must have someone she trusts with her, someone she can cling to if a stranger unknowingly gets too close to her. It's easier to have fun in public if she's at an arcade, fun center, or theme park, but money issues prevent things like that from happening too often. Her medication really helps suppress symptoms for manic depression and anxiety. Excuse me for a second. Hiccup. So she seems less quote-unquote crazy when on them, meaning she's rational and under control. She's still very sensitive, but she'll feel emotions at the average level when reacting to situations. When off her meds, Reitanna is erratic, impulsive, her emotions will rapidly change on the spot or slowly change, and she will either experience a hypermanic episode or a depression episode. This is slightly dramatized, I don't fucking care. But I have had multiple instances off my medication where my emotions do rapidly change. It happened more when I was younger. Now that I'm older, they change a lot more slowly. But for the effect of the game, they do have to either rapidly change or slowly change. So hypermanic episode or depression episode. These can last from a couple of days to months at a time, but depression episodes are more common because I'm bipolar type 2. Additionally, her overall behavior will seem much more childish, as if she actually were a child, pouting, feeling entitled to things, and getting fussy when she doesn't get what she wants, argues when someone compliments her by downing herself, and making people feel bad for not hanging out with her, even if it's for a completely logical reason. When hypermanic, she acts more like Sayori, but can be uncontrollably obnoxious, loud, hyper, and can cause harm to herself without meaning to. She basically acts like a hyperactive young child, but funnily enough, will be motivated to work on stuff, starting projects she likely will never finish. You guys who know me well will probably notice a lot, be like, oh, well, that makes sense now. When in a depression episode, she cannot smile easily, she always has a solemn look on her face, slouches more, and has no motivation to work. She will cry for small reasons, or no reason at all, and will remain unmoving if she's lying down or has her head on her desk. She, quote-unquote, dead weights. I don't know what the technical term for dead weighting is. So if someone tries to pick her up, she's harder to move. During these episodes, Reitanna will say that she doesn't matter, nothing matters, she's worthless and useless, and that everyone would be better off if she died. That way, she wouldn't be a burden on everyone. Her behavior is still a bit like a child's. When like this, she believes everything is her fault, even if it were impossible for something to be her fault. She comments on how her mother didn't love her, that no one loves her, and everybody is faking it because they don't want to be blamed for her suicide. It is possible to bring her into neutral if she's in this state by letting her interact with an animal or giving her sweets, which is, admittedly, less effective, but makes it easier to joke with her and get her to smile and laugh. Neutral is when she's not having an episode and everything seems normal, though she will still make rather harsh, self-deprecating jokes about herself being useless, and she laughs at these, but it makes other people feel awkward and mildly concerned. That is actually something Mike told me, and I didn't know that I did that. A neutral state can last just as long as any episode, but it's also an unpredictable state, for Reitanna can either slowly ease into either kind of episode, or something can snap her into one, sometimes even the smallest things acting as a trigger. If depression episodes get more severe, Reitanna will be less deadweight and more active, but being more active means cutting herself and sobbing for hours, likely for no reason, or because her mind won't stop telling her what's wrong with her. She'll feel completely alone and helpless, and her self-hatred is at a much higher level. This behavior happens every other day or so during a depression episode. The worst stage is when she has an attack. It's like a child throwing a tantrum, except the child is stronger and bigger, and she is a danger to herself and anyone around her who tries to calm her down. She screams. This is something that I've had to have been told by other people because I don't usually remember these attacks. She screams, sobs hysterically, tells people trying to help her that she hates them, even if she doesn't. She'll bite, scratch, bang her head on the wall, throw and break things, threaten to kill people, and constantly wonders at the top of her lungs why Mommy didn't love her. Not only that, but Reitanna seems equally enraged, trying to be as threatening and scary as possible without realizing it, will constantly fight at anyone who touches her, and struggles if someone manages to pin her down, try to bite or scratch them or herself. The best way to end these attacks is to pin her down, which is something that Mike has had to do many times, as she is not as strong as she wishes to be, and she will scream bloody murder to the point where you have to cover her mouth with your hand, or else, neighbors might call the police, which she will try to bite. Keep her pinned while her screaming eventually turns to sobbing and she's not struggling anymore. It's safe to release her when the crying is soft or stops altogether. She will allow you to hold her and comfort her, and she will not try to harm you or herself. These attacks only happen when her depression episodes get extremely bad, especially when Reitanna bottles up her feelings. She won't remember what happens during them, having to rely on whoever witnessed it to tell her. However, these attacks can be caused by PTSD triggers as well, or when someone is bullying her at an extreme level. These attacks are significantly rare when I'm on my medication. It takes quite the push, and there has to be some kind of reason why my mind, my chemicals are going. So, before I've taken my medication that day, I actually just took my medication about 15 minutes ago, so I'm like, it's okay, it's fine, everything's wonderful. Okay, so Act 2. I sort of listed some things in the backstory. Reitanna is only a tiny bit self-aware, and Anatir is as self-aware as Monica. Remember, Anatir is referred to as 3 question marks. Sayori is no longer in the game, and Reitanna doesn't remember her suicide, but it has affected her, as if she's aware that something important is missing, because her and Sayori were very, very, very close. Unlike in Act 1, Reitanna will not be on any medication, having suddenly refused to take it. And the reason she refused to take it is because her best friend just died. But she's not aware of that. This will make it harder for MC to get her to open up to him or even make eye contact. She'll keep her distance from him and not touch him, flinching if he moves toward her too fast, and visibly jumping and yelping at sudden loud sounds. Her body will also be constantly trembling, which really, really, really sucks. I really thought that it would go away after being off the Paxil for so long, but turns out it hasn't. Yay for propranolol, though. It slows it down a little bit. Constantly trembling, and it will, and her body will also be constantly trembling, and it will spasm every so often, which really sucks when I'm trying to draw. When first trying to meet her, she seems really mean and intimidating, but you'll find out that she's just shy or afraid of you. On day 1, she'll be in a neutral state. Oh, heavy spoilers, by the way. I should have said that before I went on to Act 2. If you haven't played the game, you shouldn't be listening to this anyway. On day 1, she'll be in a neutral state, showing only her anxiety and PTSD symptoms. MC notes that she seems a lot like Yuri, though paranoid and jumpy. Reitanna is deathly afraid of embarrassing herself, and any tiny embarrassing moment will seem like the world just saw her naked. Still, she enjoys the sweets, talks to her rat and charmer, and will share her poems. She plays with her fidget spinner more often, and if her hands are empty, she'll hold herself, tug at her shirt, wring her hands, or gently clap them together. Other than this obvious anxiety, Reitanna appears normal, able to smile and laugh, and is polite toward Monica. On day 2, Reitanna is having a hypermanic episode, seeming a lot like Sayori did, but it escalates to more of a Pinkie Pie type behavior as the day goes on. She'll blatantly make perverted jokes and swear without consideration of anyone else's feelings. Also, she tries to get most of MC's attention, visibly flirting. She wants to help Yuri make tea. She wants everyone to read her poem. She wants to share a new manga with Natsuki and disobeys Monica in silly ways, like being positive and dismissive at the same time. Like if Monica was like, Ray, you really should, be reading or writing or something instead of drawing. Oh, Monica, you don't know what you're talking about. Something like that. I can't act it. I'd have to. I can't think of a specific instance where I do that. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm fine. I'm fine doing this. I'm fine the way I'm doing this. Just wanting to, happy, yay! I don't care. I'm doing my thing, and you can just sit down. Just sit down. Sit down, mind your beans. Reitanna also pretends a lot harder that Charmer is cursed and will give her rat lots of love. I do that anyway, but just bring your mud, yeah. And even sending him on her shoulder. Where is my rat? Oh, here's his sleeve. When Yuri and Natsuki fight, Reitanna will snap into a depression episode. The yelling having triggered PTSD flashbacks, and she'll hide in the closet, hugging her rat and crying. Monica will tell the MC that Natsuki and Ray will not remember the event. My question was, when I played the game, is why Monica chose to let Yuri remember and Natsuki forget. But in this version, it would be that Monica, MC, and Yuri remembers, but Natsuki and Ray do not. On day 3, Natsuki has no recollection of the fight, but Reitanna is depressed. She doesn't remember it happening, but it still triggered her, and she seems more intimidated by Yuri. It's noted that Reitanna left her rat at home because, quote-unquote, something must have frightened him yesterday. I just don't want risking him getting hurt. She's a bit unresponsive during the first part of the day, but will cheer up when it's time to share poems. However, MC will accidentally trigger her somehow. haven't figured out what, and Ray gets pouty and aggressive, suggesting that MC doesn't actually care about the poem or her. She says she should just give up and stop trying. She takes her poem from MC and tears it up, starting to cry. MC will be given a choice to apologize or let her be alone. If he apologizes, Reitanna will yell at him that he doesn't mean it and that sorry means nothing, and that he doesn't even know what he's apologizing for. Men, we don't know what we did. Then she will sit at a desk and continue crying. If he chooses to leave her alone, she only sits at the desk and cries. When Monica brings up the festival, I'm going to note on that. In Act 1, if there's any point where MC does upset her, if he apologizes, she will forgive him. If he leaves her alone, she will be the one who apologizes. Fortunately, when on medication, I do know when it's my fault. Let's see. When Monica brings up the festival, Ray will suddenly be excited as if nothing upset her at all. But when Natsuki starts complaining, Reitanna will talk about what she wants, that Natsuki is selfish. And when Natsuki leaves, Ray will fall into a depressive state and say it doesn't matter, that the festival is pointless, and she leaves. On day 4, Reitanna looks a bit ill. Her eyes are listless at certain points, like at glitchy points, with heavy shadows beneath her eyes. Her emotions rapidly change frequently. She almost speaks like a child, she'll cry at any little thing, and will sit at a desk and thump her head against it. When she shares her poem, it's different handwriting and says, "Come with me, and then you'll see how happy we'll be when we're gone." When MC puts the paper down, he gets to talk with Anatir for a while, or... ... Anna's speaking font is ill omen. Once she's done, she'll glitch back into Reitanna, who looks even more ill, stares at MC for a moment, and then leaves. Monica assigns everyone tasks for the festival, and she suggests Reitanna, draw those silly little doodles you do, and maybe choose some music while you're at it. Good music, please, no rock. Reitanna, offended, mentions that she wouldn't choose that genre for an event like this, and she keeps her eyes on the president as if preparing to kill her. Her hate stare. I've been told by many friends in the past that my hate stare is very, very frightening. I don't know if I can do it when I'm on my medication. I do it unconsciously. When arguing who gets to spend the weekend with MC, she sits on the floor by the closet. This, however, does not occur in Act 1. This is all Act 2. She sits on the floor by the closet, but MC gets an option to choose her anyway, and if you manage to click it, you get the same result as with Yuri and Natsuki. Meaning, if you manage to click, because remember, in Act 2, at this point, your cursor is being forced toward Monica's name, and if you manage to click any of the other names, you just get a bunch of Monica options. And I think you get Yuri's hyper-realistic eyes, too. I don't remember. When Yuri pushes Natsuki and Monica out of the room, she doesn't realize Reitanna is still there, watching her and MC, who does notice her. When Yuri asks MC if he'll be her lover, there's a choice to ask Reitanna for help, but she just laughs in a way that says, "You're such a pathetic fool." Yuri will still stab herself to death, and while she is, Reitanna will watch in horror, not knowing that would happen, and she starts crying when Yuri drops to the floor. She'll grab Yuri's knife and point it at MC, blaming him for her suicide, sobbing and screaming about how he's caused 2 deaths now, even though she does not mention who the first one was, because she doesn't remember who the first one was. She accuses MC of trying to make her and Natsuki kill themselves too. And she says he's about to get his wish, holding the knife to her throat, but she glitches into Anatir and the knife drops. Anatir will play her little game with MC, beating him down while forced to stay in the room with Yuri's body. So instead of that point where you're just staring at Yuri's body for the entire weekend, Anatir will... it'll be more interactive with Anatir. But there will be parts where she just stays silent, like, let's see. Since she doesn't need sleep, she stays with MC all weekend, sometimes going silent and stabbing the body with a knife. Anna will flirt with MC, saying this would have never happened if he fell in love with Reitanna, and sometimes will act like an excited child, asking MC to play board games with her. Toward the end of the weekend, Anna will simply sit next to MC and hum her lullaby. When Natsuki enters the room, Anna will vanish. Natsuki will scream and throw up, like she does in the original, but instead of running away, she doesn't get to do that! And then Anna will stab her in the lower back from behind. She'll laugh like a maniac and then glitch back into Reitanna, who looks even sicker. With the knife in hand, Reitanna looks at both of the bodies, then the knife, and assumes she had an attack that killed both of her friends. She completely loses it, not saying anything to MC, probably doesn't even realize he's there, and throws herself out the window. So, glitches. When Monica changes Reitanna's dialogue, her eyes become listless, and she will be forced to express self-hatred or that Mommy didn't love her. She will also mention her nightmares, vaguely referencing Sayori's suicide. Like saying she keeps having this nightmare of somebody important to her hanging themselves or something. On a separate occasion, Monica will force Reitanna to say, "You killed her, you know." This is her blaming the player for Sayori's death in Act 1. When her emotions are at their highest points, she will momentarily glitch into Anna tier, no matter which kind of episode she is having. I'm losing my voice. This is what happens when I read too much. Anna tier's font is different when she speaks, which I already mentioned is ill omen. An accidental scene will show Rei having a violent attack, and when MC tries to help, the game crashes and goes back to the point before the scene. You actually have to reopen the game, but you'll be brought straight into it, skipping the intro menu. The smaller glitches that happen in-game are Reitanna's sprite being mixed with Anna tier's, Reitanna's sprite disappearing and leaving leaving Charmer floating in midair. The game will get a close-up of Anna's face, and Reitanna's nose will bleed. Because I have a problem with nosebleeds. Another one that I wanted to add is that sometimes Reitanna's title sprite is switched with Anna tier's on very rare occasions. Okay, random events. In Act 2, if Reitanna feels you're not paying enough attention to her, she'll threaten to kill herself and will show MC both of her wrists. Sometimes, when you turn on the game, instead of the warning, you might get a message that says, "The further you go, the darker it gets." That references Anna tier's staircase. Oh, I wrote it here. On rare occasions, upon starting the game, Anna tier will replace Reitanna's menu sprite. In the classroom, there's a chance a poster will show a demonic version of Charmer, which is Charmer's quote-unquote unleashed form, which I've only sketched once. I have not actually drawn it. There are also chances that Reitanna's eyes will turn into Anna tier's eyes. Sometimes Anna tier will show herself for a second, her yellow eye now being red. When writing a poem, Reitanna's sticker has a rare chance of turning into Anna tier's sticker when clicking one of Reitanna's negative words. A secret quote-unquote poem will be written by Anna. Another secret poem will cause an image file called "You Lied" to show up out of game, and it will reveal a child's drawing of a mother hitting her daughter as she says, "I love you." If you delete everyone's character file except Reitanna's, the game will skip the intro and show a picture of Reitanna's body from above, mangled and surrounded by glass, the result of jumping out the window. There's the sound of an ambulance. If you change Reitanna.chr to rat.chr, the game will show you a clip of a cute dancing rat. Just for funsies, because it needed something happy, I tell you! If you change it to Annatier.chr, Reitanna's suicide picture will be accompanied by a music box version of Annatier's lullaby. When the game restarts without Monica and Sayori as president, Reitanna will show absolutely no shy behavior, whether or not you get the bad ending or the good ending. Okay. Poems. Reitanna's poem font is Smudger LET. Annatier's poem font is My Scars. Now, I've written a bunch of titles of already written poems / songs. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you think that I should actually write brand new poems for this possibly never happening mod, or if I should keep the ones that I've already written. If I were to keep the ones that I've already written, day 1 is He is the Moon, day 2 is Smart Man, day 3 is Clock, and day 4 is Fake Smile, except changing the last line. And I will actually read those to you in a moment. This is a long video, but whatevs. Act 2, day 1 is He is the Moon, day 2 is Contemplation, day 3 is That Sad Little Girl, and day 4 is Annatier's Message, the one where she says, come with me and then you'll see how great it will be when we're gone or something. Annatier's secret poem. Remember when you couldn't see me? She hid me from you, and for good reason. She likes to hide me from everyone. But you did something, didn't you? You made her let me out. Or was it someone else? No, it was you. It's your fault. The first time was your fault, too. So what this means is, in Act 1, you couldn't see Anatir, because Reitanna was on her medication. She hid Anatir, and for good reason. And then she blames MC for doing something that let her out, meaning she's blaming MC for Sayori's suicide. She says, you made her let me out, or was it someone else? Meaning that she's doubting herself and thinking that someone else could have let her out, referencing the fact that Monica is escalating everybody's bad character. But then she decides that no matter whose fault it is, no, it was you. It's your fault, because everything's your fault, and the first time was your fault too. Secret poem would be upbringing. That I do want to keep. Okay, so for word favor, each character has between 60 and 80 words that will make their little sticker jump. In Act 2, any word that was assigned to Sayori is divided between Yuri and Natsuki. So, I had to look at the list of all of their words, all 4 of their words. So many words, and tried to select ones that none of them had, except choosing a few of Sayori's words for Act 2. So you will never see all of their words in one playthrough. The first 40 I'm going to list are positive words that will cause my sticker to jump. So, animal, dessert, color, cartoons, metal, rock, art, doll, plushie, bright, lemonade, rat, spunky, sweet, eccentric, love, daydream, success, fuzzy, snuggle, arcade, clay, sexy, milkshake, pizzazz, space, pet, random, draw, computer, sing, star, rainbow, awesome, laugh, smile, sweet, party, silly, emotion. And now for the negative words are the next 40. Guilt, abuse, mother, paranoia, hate, murder, unpredictable, death, medicine, depression, childhood, monster, manic, tantrum, fear, nightmare, flashback, scary, worry, broken, alone, / gore, kill, rage, sensitive, tears, scars, sleepless, sociopath, loathe, society, violence, misery, liar, vicarious, cold, lost, mistake, and worthless. Special cutscenes! If your first poem appeals to Reitanna, you get to join her in playing with her rat. This is when she explains that she loves animals and what they do for her. MC will ask about Charmer, and she'll tell him about him and his fictional backstory. MC will also ask if Rei's parents are okay with rats, and she'll mention that she lives with her grandmother. In Act 2, some of her dialogue will change to reveal that she was abused. Reitanna will also mention she's picky when it comes to things like books and music. She will screw up some of her words and make fun of herself for it. In Act 2, this will make her horribly embarrassed and she stops talking altogether. Monica will tell MC that Reitanna is terrified of embarrassing herself, so much so, she'd not just cry over spilled milk, she'd hate herself for days. I wish that was a lie. Second one. If your second poem appeals to Reitanna, she'll show MC a comic strip she drew, and they'll eat chocolate. In Act 2, she'll make fun of herself for being fat, but still keeps eating sweets. She shows the second one, which is unfinished, and MC helps her come up with an ending. They laugh a lot because it's ridiculous. In Act 2, she will get bored of that comic and start a different one that does not get finished either. And I didn't write this down, but MC should mention that, don't you think we should finish the first comic? No, I'll finish that later. I have this idea now. And then after that, when it's time to, okay, everyone, it's time to share poems, she'll be like, oh, I'll finish that later. And then they won't ever come back to it. Number 3, if you choose to spend time with Reitanna over the weekend, she'll come to MC's house and they'll sit in the living room with paper, colored pencils, and scissors. That was not a period, that was a comma, so that Rei can draw cute animals doing things with books. She mentions that MC didn't need to help her, that her work was fine for one person, but he says he wanted to see more of her art. While she draws, MC uses his phone to look for music that they both can agree would be appropriate, and they end up settling on some jazz and classical music. As time passes, Ray will start feeling down, and when MC asks what's wrong, she'll mention that she forgot to bring her medication, explaining what it's for and that she was missing her second dose. This causes her to cry, but it's not hysterical because she still has some of the first dose in her. The chemicals don't just completely wear off in one day. If you're consistently on medication, then the symptoms, regardless, will be a lot more mild if you forget to take a dose or if you miss one. This causes her to cry, saying that MC wouldn't want to hang out with her because she's not normal, and he hugs her, comforting her and telling her that her disabilities don't make her any less wonderful, soppy romantic crap, because MC is soppy and so basic. When they are outside, Ray thanks MC and they almost kiss, like he would with Natsuki and Yuri, but Sayori interrupts, and Reitanna asks if she's okay. If she want to hang out, but Sayori refuses, which makes Ray concerned, but she senses that Sayori just wanted to be with MC, and she leaves while feeling guilty. And then the whole spiel with Sayori confessing her love to MC will happen. Other stuff! When Sayori starts to feel depressed, Reitanna is able to cheer her up a bit until Monica decides to speak with Sayori alone, because we all know that it was Monica who told her to kill herself. She'll mention to MC that Sayori sometimes needs someone else to be her sunshine, but does not reveal that she has depression out of respect. She tells MC that it's important for him to always be there for her and to not leave her alone. When Sayori leaves, Reitanna gets really worried and tells MC to check on her when he goes home, knowing they're neighbors. And then that's when he checks on her and Sayori tells him about her depression. It's very common, especially with females and males, for females to be upset and claim they just want to be alone. And this is why they say that women are crazy and men are stupid. Because when women are upset, men and women aren't all that different. But there is the social stigma of where men aren't allowed to show their emotions. We both have emotions, but women do tend to get irrational when emotional, especially if they're hormonal, and especially if there's a case of mental illness and a depressive kind of illness or disorder. And oftentimes when this happens, when a woman is hysterical and she says to leave her alone repeatedly, sometimes she means to not leave her alone. And this is really, really, really bothersome to many men, because what if she does mean leave her alone, and staying there to try and comfort her will cause her to, think that you're trying to sexually harass her, because some women are like that. But what if you do leave her alone because you're afraid of, invading her space, but she doesn't actually want to be alone? For those of you who have ever seen 13 Reasons Why, you'll know why this bothered me. But, if you're a man and a woman is crying and she's yelling at you, screaming at you to leave her alone, what you should probably try to do is don't touch her and let her know that you're not touching her. Stay a decent amount of space away from her and say, okay, I'll leave you alone, but first you need to hear me out. Say what you have on your mind, say what you're thinking. If it comforts her, there's a good possibility she will allow you to have physical contact, to hug her, not in a sexual way. This just in, radical feminist, if a man touches you, that doesn't necessarily mean he wants to fuck you. If she's still upset, the likelihood of her actually wanting to be left alone is greater, but you should probably find somebody that she's friends with, preferably another female, to send in after her. Especially if she's hysterical, because if there's something wrong there, then she could be a danger to herself. Now, I know this is really confusing, especially since it doesn't apply to every single woman. And, that's why they say men are stupid, because men don't know what to do when women get crazy. And it sucks. And being a woman, I know how much that sucks. With the Me Too movement and all the scumbags who have sexually harassed women, and women now finally feeling more comfortable to come out and say something, men are kind of afraid that, any touch will make a woman's, call sexual harassment, even if it's just on the shoulder, even if you're being friendly, even if you have no intention of having sex on, having sex on her. Having sex with her. This just became a long-ass rant, so let's move on. You know what I'm trying to say. It's just, ugh. So, next, when MC first chooses to hang out with her on the weekend, she tells MC to invite Sayori too, but Monica reminds everyone that she and Sayori were working on their festival projects together, so Sayori would be too busy. This is a lie, of course, which we all know, but she tells Monica to tell Sayori that she'd love if the three of them could hang out, which Monica never gets that message to Sayori because Monica was never helping her in the first place. It's all a lie, Monica! In Act 1, when Yuri and Nartsky... My god, this is great. I'm having the best reading day. When Yuri and Natsuki argue, MC can choose whether he agrees with Natsuki, Yuri, call Sayori for help, or ask Reitanna's opinion. I don't remember if there's an option for Monica. If he chooses Sayori, basically the scene will happen as played out, but Rei will add that she strongly agrees with what she says. If he chooses Reitanna, she gives her opinion on the situation and teams up with Sayori to calm their friends down. So basically, it's still Sayori's moment, but if he chooses for Reitanna's help, she will have a little bit of a stronger influence than if he chose Sayori. I'm trying my best not to make this mod all about Reitanna, because it's not. It's just if Reitanna were there, that's why, she has very few glitches and stuff, and I know the current game doesn't allow you to, I haven't tried renaming the character files and seeing what happens, but I know that no one has discovered if any differences happen if you rename the character files. So I kind of want to add that in there because I thought that would be cool. Reitanna will casually mention her other hobbies and that she's in choir. In Act 1, Day 4, Rei will bring matching beaded bracelets for everyone that says literature as a symbol to unite them as club members. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but that's basically it. So I'm gonna have to go and look for the poems that I listed here. And I want your guys' opinion, if you've listened this long, if these poems would fit for this game mod if it were to happen, or if I should write new ones specifically to tie in more to the story.
The story. I know that there's a folder down here that's called Poems. I don't really know where it is. It's down here somewhere.
There's songs. What? There you are! God, I have many folders. Okay, so Day 1 is He is the Moon. Where am I gonna find that? This is something I wrote when I was 16? I am the earth and he is the moon. Without him, I am cast in shadow. He gives me light in the dark at night when I need it most. Why then couldn't I see? Why couldn't I see he was my light? Instead, I tried relying on a star, but not one star could brighten me. Star after star after star left me in the darkness. I am the earth and the sun is my path. I looked into the daytime sky, and a path shone brightly before me. Where did it lead? I couldn't see. It was shining somewhere behind me. Nightfall, and then I saw the path made the moon. The path made. What? The path made the moon shine bright. Did I mean to say the moon made the path shine bright? No, the path is metaphorical. Okay. And the sun is my path. Okay, so the path is the sun. That means the sun made the moon shine bright, which is why the moon lights up, because of the reflection of the sun. Okay, sorry. Questioning 16-year-old me. Never a star was brightened, not by the sun. I am the earth, and he is the moon. The sun has shown the obvious answer. I know the sun is a star, but we consider it to be the greatest star because it is what encompasses our solar system. I need the moon, not a star. The moon helps me see clearly through the choking darkness. Why didn't I realize the sun was always there guiding me? But I never paid attention to it. Now I see the sun, I notice the moon, my moon. He wants to give me light, so I will accept it. Never again will I take a star, never again will the mistake be made. I am the earth, and he is the moon, and he will forever keep me lit. Now, I'm not entirely sure who the sun is referring to. I'm not going to dissect this poem for you guys. So, yeah. Okay, day 2 is Smart Man. Go up. Okay. Smart Man is a more recent poem. I published this on November 18th, 2016. Really? That long ago? Here's my problem with time again. It feels like I only wrote this, 6 or 8 months ago, but no. It was almost 2 years ago. Enter the life of Smart Man. Smart Man does what no other can. Smart Man can choose where he wants to go. Smart Man can teach what people don't know. Smart Man can tell what is real and what is not. Smart Man wins battles that need to be fought. Smart Man knows how to read and write. Smart Man can find the truth without any light. Smart Man gives what he likes to receive. Smart Man aids people and offers reprieve. Smart Man is honest. He frowns on deception. Smart Man never deals in the act of disruption. I haven't read this out loud, so I didn't know how twisty my tongue would get. Smart Man knows what is right and wrong. Smart Man never echoes, but sings his own song. Smart Man can see from another's perspective. Smart Man knows when to be respective. Smart Man is intelligent, but he is always learning. Smart Man is able to work and make an earning. Smart Man can infer from the smallest detail. Smart Man knows men are no better than any female. Smart Man sees not black, white, yellow, brown, or red. Smart Man knows what things should never be said. Smart Man doesn't hate those who want to love. Smart Man knows what's really up above. Smart Man doesn't judge people for what they wear. Smart Man stays true. He will never have an affair. Smart Man counts more than just 2 genders. Smart Man won't become one of the reckless spenders. Smart Man will never live in a prison cell. Smart Man knows what urges he must quell. Smart Man sees how the universe works. Smart Man understands there aren't many perks. Smart Man is unhappy. It's because he is smart. He is simply waiting until the world is torn apart. Day 3 is Clock. When did I write Clock? I think this is another one that I wrote. Let's see when I published it. I published it in 2014. Yeah, so it's relatively old, and it's short. My body is a clock, tick-tock, tick-tock, counting down the time I have left on this rock. My heart is a bomb that beats like a drum. Any moment it could cease, stopping the clock's run. My mind is a machine that records what is seen. It waits for the day the bomb blows off steam. My body is a clock, tick-tock, tick-tock, bringing me ever closer to my escape from this rock. So in Act 1, the poems are supposed to hint that there's a problem.
I don't know why I closed that.
I didn't need to close that!
You need to the gallery.
I just go all the way down to the page and get the fucking poem folder. Ugh. Again, if I never learned how to laugh at myself. Okay, so day 4 is Fake Smile, and I'm supposed to change the last line. Fake smile, fake smile, fake smile. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Wake me up, fake smile. When did I publish this? in 2013. Okay. Greeted by her vibrant cheer, the happy girl that's always here has a very grim secret, I fear. Her friendly smile is fake. She has a heart that's big in size, but her smile does not reach her eyes. She tries to fool us with her lies, but her warm smile is fake. It becomes a daily task to hide behind a grinning mask. Oh, my dear, I have to ask, why is your smile fake? She's a girl that's pure of heart, and she's been like that from the very start, but her mind and soul have been torn apart, making her loving smile fake. My little dear, I see the truth. Countless others have tarnished your youth. You're broken, my dear, and here's the proof. Your pretty smile is fake. Every day she's in pain, you see, but she tries her best to pass off glee. I'm ashamed to say that girl is me, and my cheerful smile is fake. I want to change they're technically last two lines, but they're of one phrase. I want to change that so it makes it less obvious that Rei is talking about herself.
But I don't know what I'm gonna change it to.
So, next, Act 2, He is the Moon. Day 2, Contemplation. Contemplation. Ah, yes. This is because on Day 2, Rei is having a hypermanic episode. So, Contemplation. Silence. Ultimate. I know I read this on my channel, so I will leave a link to it. I don't know why, but silence, ultimate silence. I lay in my bed, contemplating life. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Tears run down my face, and I close my eyes, letting moonlight wash over me. Fate is a cruel thing. Destiny is elusive. Existence is nothing more than a lie. The world is ego, nothing more. I open my teary eyes, gazing up at the vast starry sky. They look so free. Balls of fire, giant chunks of ice, planets more significant than our own. What is up there? What is out in that void? The cold air stings my tear-streaked face. I sit up, still staring at the beautiful night sky. In my bed, I can't help but wonder, where the fuck is my roof? So, the story behind that is, just taking a short sentence I saw on an icon long ago and expanding the thought. Hope you like it. So, being hypermanic on that day makes sense because that's a more silly poem that seems more serious at first. Day 3 is that sad little girl. I think that one's more recent too. Recent as in 2016? What? Somebody's calling me. People should know never to call me! It was Michael. He gets a pass. He was gonna remind me to take my medicine because he didn't set it out for me. But I remember by myself. I'm so grown up. Anyway. Right, so I wrote this in 2014. I think I will. Yes, that makes sense why all the sad ones are in these between these years, because I was having trouble with getting my medication. I believe 2014-15 were some of the worst. I think 2015 was the worst. I don't remember. No sense of time. Okay, so that sad little girl, she was afraid to go to school, for she knew she'd be ridiculed like some sort of fool. That sad little girl was also afraid to return home, for she was yelled at and beaten and just oh so alone. Most of my poems are free verse, don't have necessarily much rhythm, and may or may not rhyme. That sad little girl is still alive today. She still remembers the pain, and it'll never go away. That sad little girl wants nothing more than to die, but others want her to stay, so she'll continue living this lie. That makes sense on day 3 because of the fact that she is depressed. And then on day 4 is Anna Tear's little message where she says, what does she say again? I should know this by heart. It's one of the things that she says in come with me and then you'll see how happy we'll be when we're gone. I believe it is. And then the one of the secret poems is Upbringing, which is a song I wrote. And when I recorded, the first time I recorded it, it actually sounded pretty good despite the fact that my microphone wasn't very good. A lot of times I have trouble with harmonies, and in that recording, my harmonies were agreeing with me. So it resounds to be a better one of my songs. I'm pretty sure I used the word resound wrong. But I will go ahead and read the lyrics and link the actual song. Where the hell did my songs folder go? Stock thingies. There it is. Scream, 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 and run away. Run, 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 or die. Da, 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 die. Run. I'm losing my voice right now. Okay. So, the lyrics go, Mama, you told me the world wasn't ugly, full of sunshine and rainbows, and jars filled with candy. How did you think that you could fool me? Mama once told me that she'd always love me, and nothing would hurt her sweet little baby. Everyone will love you, she said, because you are the sweetest child. My perfect world, I try to remind myself Mama loves me. Mama, you told me that I didn't have to try hard, that I wouldn't get anywhere anyway. Mama once told me that she'd always love me, but now her voices say otherwise. Back then, I didn't know it wasn't normal for sunshine and rainbows to turn black. Mama, I told you that I'd always hate you for the hell and torment you put me through. But you lied. Because in the, probably added to this in the secret poem would be, again, Mama, you told me you'd always love me, but you lied. Because in the song, there's a jumbled up moment where the instrumentals get really chaotic, and you can't really understand what's being said. Basically, it's a mix of different verses in the song. Still remains to be one of my favorite songs, even though it really hurts. I've wanted to re-record some of my old songs where the harmonies just were not fitting, but time, hobbies, other shit. Anything else? Okay, so I'm keeping the secret poem upbringing. But again, in the comments, let me know if I should keep the poems in Act 1 and Act 2 for days 1 through 3. I'm keeping Anna Tear's message, so day 4 and Act 2 doesn't count. And now that I've thoroughly lost my voice, there's something else that I need to record too. So I'm gonna sound like a prepubescent boy for a little while. So, if you did listen to this entire video, thank you for your interest. And make sure to subscribe, spread the word of awesome, and don't forget to click the little bell, or Anna Tear will get you. I'm just kidding. And I don't know, leave a like, because liking stuff. And I shall see you later, alligators and crocodiles. Goodbye!